In this video, I'm going to be talking all things kinesiology tape or KT tape. I want to discuss the three things that it says it does. Does it actually do them? I want to discuss the most common question that we get asked all around kinesiology tape and give you the answer to that one. And ultimately help you decide whether this is stuff that you should be having in your kit bag. Want to know my answers? In which case, stay tuned. Thanks for checking out the channel. My name's John. I'm the head therapist here at John W Sports Injury. Where at this channel we want to do three simple things: help you understand your body, help you alleviate pain so you can achieve your sport, exercise and well-being goals. But today our topic is going to be all about this stuff here. KT, as it's often called, standing for kinesiology tape. It doesn't have to be, but it's often brightly coloured. So if you're thinking of professional athletes that you might have seen on the TV covered in this brightly coloured stuff, this is what we're talking about today. And what I want to do is talk about the three things that it states it does and give my opinions as to whether this is actually true. So this information in this video really is just taken from my opinion, and that's important to understand. Now, if you've got views on this, drop them in the comments as you watch the video. And also, I'm sure there's lots of detailed research around this, and if you're aware of that, drop that in the comments for others to see. But as I said, I will just be giving my opinion. But a quick Google search of what does KT do shows us that effectively it does three main things. It claims to, firstly, reduce inflammation. How does it do this? Well, the skin or the body as a whole comes in multiple layers. Now, the theory behind this is that by applying this tape, what it looks to do is, by putting that tape with the stretch and having the elastic properties of the tape, is that it can actually lift the top level of the skin. Why is this helpful? Well, what this does is create more of a channel of space for where that inflammation may be sitting. So the body detects trauma, it sends inflammation to the area that we then want to reduce. So by lifting this skin, we create a little bit more channel for what's called our lymphatic system to work. Our lymphatic system is our drainage system that allows us to expel these byproducts from our body. So do I agree with this? Well, this is the one where I'm going to slightly sit on the fence and say that I neither agree nor disagree in truth. Does it work? Perhaps. Is it a game changer? Not really for me. I don't think that this is something that I necessarily feel is a huge benefit from KT. And actually, I feel quite strongly against the fact that we should be applying too much taping if we feel that inflammation is present. Remember what inflammation is. It's our body repairing itself. So particularly in the early stages, how much do we want to suppress that? In my opinion, not too much. I think we should allow that to happen, but we should respect the fact that it's happening. Once it's gone on for a period of time, typically longer than 72 hours, that's when we can start to get to work on reducing that inflammation. But what I don't want to do is, by promoting that one of the benefits of this is to reduce inflammation, I don't think you should be applying any form of taping in the first 72 hours. So I suppose ultimately it would be strong for me to say I disagree with this point, but on the other hand, I'm not going to promote this or strongly agree with that point. The second point that it says that it does is that it helps to increase mobility. So how does it do this? Well, this really comes down to the elastic properties of the tape. Now, if we think of a typical muscle and we have our muscle fibers, they are quite elastic in their nature. And what we want our muscles to do is to contract and relax, contract and relax. But if we've got a problem at that muscle, what we can do using this taping is mimic the direction, orientation of those muscle fibers. We can compress the problematic area so that we don't use it so much. And actually the tape adopts the natural elasticity of your muscle fibers. So if you're looking to create these movements out of the muscles, but you can't because of pain and trauma to that muscle tissue, we can compress that area. We can follow tape in the orientation of those muscle fibers, and this can become our substitute. So do I agree with that point? Yes, I think it certainly has the opportunity to add some elasticity that we can't naturally get due to pain. So I'm going to give the tape that point as a thumbs up. Finally, what it looks to do, it states quite generally, is it promotes recovery. How does it do this? Well, for me, By adding things like this elasticity to the muscles, compressing some sore areas, what it can allow us to do is return to exercise quicker. And we know that once the body wants to repair itself, we know that by starting to load that body under controlled progressive exercise loads will help it to restore to its natural or pre-injured state. So by using some tape potentially, and I say potentially, in the early stages and used correctly, it may allow us to return to exercise a little bit quicker, which ultimately allows us to start loading the muscle tissues, and that ultimately allows us to return to that sport a little bit quicker. So again, I am going to give that one a thumbs up. So overall, the first point, does it actually allow reduced inflammation? I'm going to probably sit on the fence on that one, leaning towards a thumb down. The second point of increasing mobility, I'm going to give it its dues on that one and give it a thumbs up. And ultimately, do I think it helps to promote recovery? Yes, it probably does. So I suppose you could argue that it's a 2-to-1 victory for the KT tape in terms of positives. But I want to put a few caveats in there. Firstly, actually, how much of this is beneficial to the taping that we've had for lots and lots of period of time? Whilst KT is relatively new and seen in the sporting world, taping has been around for a very long time. So does KT offer us lots more benefits than regular taping? Well, again, it's one where I'm going to sit on the fence with. What this type of taping does is provide that elasticity that I spoke about. It has a lot of stretch to it, so we can use it to mimic muscle fibers. Whereas though, I don't use this for all areas, because some areas I actually don't want that elasticity, and I'm using tape to provide support or structure. So this might typically be around somebody who's suffering with an ankle sprain, and then we might use a tape that provides more support and stability. So again, does this do anything that other tape does? It can bring some benefits, but actually for certain other areas, I think that other taping could be beneficial. Now I want to move on to the question that I'm asked more than ever. Is KT or taping in general a placebo? Is it something that actually is just tricking our mind rather than helping our body? Well, my answer to this when people pose me this question is always the same. Does it matter? Now let me explain that a little bit more. When we're using these things, it's to allow us to achieve a sport and exercise goal. So for example, I have a client who the day before the London Marathon, we have taped them. They have then completed the marathon and they say to me, was it to do with the KT tape because I felt great, or was that all just in my head? Does it matter? We achieved the goal. Could it have been that the KT helped your physiology, with all the benefits we've spoken about? Potentially. Could it have just made you feel better in order that it gave you some psychological lift to complete the marathon? Potentially. But overall, we don't need to overanalyze that. You achieve your sporting exercise goal, and therefore, for me, that's where this can work. But again, this is all sounding very positive. So should you be darting out, buying lots of this and taping yourself up like a mummy before we go onto the sport and exercise field? Absolutely not. I do not want people to become reliant upon taping or supports. These have a very specialised and structured place in my mind. These can certainly be used as somebody returns to the sport and exercise field post-injury. We can use it to potentially enhance recovery, but it is always used, in my opinion, with the caveat that we want to get rid of this as quickly as possible. This could potentially be covering problems. This could potentially be preventing the muscles from undergoing the loads that they need in order to ultimately return. So we can use it, but please don't think that we should become reliant on this. What we should be actually doing is understanding its true benefits, using it in the correct way, but actually getting rid of it as quickly as possible and allow us to have a long-term return to our sport and exercise goals, free from taping or free from support. Has that been helpful? Firstly, do you disagree with my comments? As I've said, these are literally just my opinion, and I'm totally up for debating those, and I am nowhere near arrogant enough to think that my opinions are right. I just wanted to give my opinion on this stuff. But if you disagree, drop me a comment. Even better, if you're looking at research out there that disagrees with me, drop that in the comments. I would love to read it. But if this has been helpful for you, if you've agreed with my view or you've appreciated my view, do me a favour, show me that you like it, show me that you appreciate it, even if you disagree with it, by hitting that like button, and let others find out about this discussion. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, well, why not? Hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to keep you updated on more content just like this one. And once you hit that bell, we'll let you know when the next video comes out, and I'll see you at that video.